Note the crow is aware and came over to inspect what was going on.
We are about to talk about black energy coming out of this device here, which is a Radio Nova 1 kilowatt FM transmitter. And we have the company of a wonderful crow who's complaining a great deal about what I'm doing. Well, Mr. Crow, you've been monitoring, and now you're monitoring, and we're making it known that we understand that you're looking and monitoring about black energy, an intelligent black energy that is used to control us all through transmitters and all other communication devices.
When we received this transmitter in London for sale and disposal, we opened it and saw a huge volume of black energy drop out of it. It is very rare to have an item like this, so we take this report on it.
What happens to this black energy is that, well, let's open the thing up and we'll describe it. It's an intelligent energy based on thought, and it's interdimensional in nature. The triode valve in there, which is ground grid, so there's total isolation electrically, RF-wise, between input and output. And the important thing about this is, as with all the transmitters which we've dealt with the pirate station, in order to get these things to work on a pirate station, we have to depurge all the black energy that's in them. Okay, that's one of the most important elements. When Energy 106 was on its last hours, we had a situation where a similar transmitter, this much larger, doing 10 kilowatts, also ex-Radio Nova, which we operated in Ireland, up until February 2005, was that we had black octopoidal life forms, like thought forms, walking around inside like crabs or that kind of type of creature. Not very pleasant. They were targeted and put in there using thought by beings which control us and make sure our thought levels and our thought realities and things which we do with our minds and everything else are restricted. By using these kind of transmitters, any means or any mechanism which is able to communicate with many minds physically, a transmitter, it could be a letter, it could be a book, it could be anything which transfers thought by any mechanism. The point about this is, when this was used by Radio Nova, it was transmitting white light, a white light energy which energized everybody's consciousness, and which is why Radio Nova was such a magnificent, massively powerful station. Because it energized all the young people in Ireland and everybody else who listened to it, and bingo, positive thought and a whole evolution and sea change in culture happened. But the species of beings which keep us down are threatened by our very power and consciousness. So what we do is they use mechanisms, subtle mechanisms like this that we don't understand, pump the black energy into it, and that makes us all feel bad and down, creates war, tension and all that sort of stuff. And the actual parent or larger life forms, these huge, massive, interdimensional, octopoidal, spidery type creatures, don't want to be here. They want to be back in their own dimension. But they've been imported into our reality in order to feed on us and cause us problems. And we have them in every single broadcast facility in the world. Every single computer system in the world, the whole lot. But if you know about it, you can counter it. They are not the problem. The problem are the people using them, and that's the key. Okay? So, there it is.
As we mentioned, the black energy coming out of the transmitter, the audio collapsed in level. To the left is the normal voiceover that we were doing normally, but once we actually started to mention the transmitter and this black energy that came out of it, watch how the audio collapses in level during those very words. We'll now play the computer.
Energy 106.
The audio is at the normal level.
Of this black energy.
Now the audio is down.
We received this transmitter in London for sale and disposal in January 2007. We opened up and
the audio was almost completely gone. This is a classic example of how this energy is still active, even though it happened many years ago.
Energy drop out of it like a giant black blob of fluid energy.
Note, at the very point I said out, that's the out word, when it physically came out of the transmitter, look how massively large the signal is. This is a classic example of how this black energy is intelligent. It responds to thought, even though we are talking many, many months ago. Even though the transmitter was off, The energy was still inside it. This is a classic example of how this black etheric tar type energy works. It's still there, it's still active, it's waiting for us. That's why the crow was so immediately concerned. And that is why the pirate stations, which broadcast for over 40 to 50 years, were so important in bringing us a higher awareness. And that is what this is all about. As we close this edit of Basis 4, a scientific discussion at the Royal Society London was held on, quote, the detection of extraterrestrial life and the consequences for science and society. While for 1 second we do not expect these eminent scientists to ever even mention the word UFO or ET, or for 1 moment actually recognize any of the real UFO and sociological abduction data, the message is in the title. Perhaps these scientists are telling us what they really think in the titles of their discussion and not necessarily in the obfuscation and waffle of their discussion. One of the subjects for discussion was from a Dr. Paul Davies of Arizona State University on searching for a shadow biosphere on Earth as a test for the cosmic imperative. As we have just seen, as we edited this very section on shadow life forms in our transmitters and in the broadcast system as a whole, we had direct interaction with our equipment, the audio, and we got a signal as we spoke the very words.